Assalamualaikum and hi to everyone. In this video, my group members and I will present our group assignments entitled Elasticity. Before we get started, I would like first to introduce to our group members. Our group consists of 4 members, me, myself, Izatul Aisyah binti Suainan, second, Afifah Shaira binti Muhammad Fahir Rafiq, third, Ilyana Natasha binti Isham, and lastly, Muhammad Arif Fazari bin Muhammad Fadli.
Assalamualaikum and hi. Today I, Ilana Natasha binti Isham from the IB1B, will present to you the answer for the question 1. And the first situation is to increase the price. In my opinion, if I'm an owner of small medium-sized enterprise of tea shop, firstly, we need to know about elastic of demand for tea shop. It is because we need to know about the change in quantity demand if we change the price. Second, I also think it will be the best decision to increase profit. To recover from the pandemic is to increase the price. For example, my shop is the only tea shop in this district, so if people want to buy at other place, then we need to count the transportation costs and also time that it take to go to another shop. So, the total revenue will increase. For example, the price of one box of tea bag is 10 ringgit. The total revenue for 30 box of tea bag will be 300 ringgit. So when the price increased to Rm 30 ringgit for one box, the quantity demand will drop to 28 box, but total revenue will increase to Rm 364. So based on the equation, we get that when the elasticity less than 1, it's inelastic. So, for the second situation is if we decrease the price. In my opinion, if I am the owner of small medium-sized enterprise of a tea shop, I will decrease in price because as we know there are a lot of tea shop and buyer can go to any shop that they want. If we decrease the price, more people will come to my tea shop because it's more cheaper than other shop. So, it will totally increase the demand of a box of tea bag and total revenue will increase. For example, the price of a box of tea bag is Rm 10 ringgit. The total revenue for 50 box will be Rm 150. When the price decreased to Rm 6 ringgit for a box, the quantity demand will increase to 40 box and total revenue will increase to Rm 240. So, based on the equation, we get that the value of elasticity is more than 1. So, when the value of elasticity more than 1, it's elasticity.
Hi madam and viewers, my name is Muhammad Arif Fazari bin Muhammad Fazli and I'm from the IB1B. For this part of this presentation, I am going to explain about the question 2 with Afifah Shahira and also Izatul Aisyah, which is my classmate, by explaining the types of elasticity of demand and how we can use the concept of elasticity in our small medium enterprise. There are 3 types of the elasticity of demand. So for number 1 is price elasticity of demand, number 2 is cross elasticity of demand, number 3 is income elasticity of demand. Let's move into the first one, which is price elasticity of demand. So what is the price elasticity of demand? Price elasticity of demand we can define as to show how the price changes of the products or services affect the quantity demand and supply. So for the responses, I will explain about the types of price elasticity of demand. So there are 2 types of the price elasticity of demand, which is number 1, elastic demand, and number 2 is inelastic demand. So talk about the first one, which is elastic demand. Elastic demand is a condition where the small changes of price for the product will lead to a big changes in the quantity demand. As you can see in the graph for the elastic demand, you can see that when the price of the product is slightly increased, the quantity demand will be huge decrease vice versa. For an example, in the graph, the original price is 65 ringgit. So when 65 ringgit increase to 80 ringgit, you can see that the amount of the quantity demand will be decreased more than the amount of the price, which from 110 fall into 50. Example of goods which are elastic is car and electronic devices. So we move into the next part, which is inelastic demand. So for an elastic demand, even when we increase or decrease the price, the quantity demand for the products will be remain the same or slightly change. The consumer's demand does not change much as the price changes for products. As you can see in the graph for inelastic demand, you can see that when the price is already decreased, the quantity demand will be remain the same. For an example, P1 is the original price. When P1 is decreased to P2, the quantity demand will be remain the same.
2b is cross-elasticity of demand. The definition is the cross-elasticity of demand is an economic concept that measures the responsiveness in the quantity demanded of one good when the price for another good change. Also called cross-price elasticity of demand, this measurement is calculated by taking the percentage change in the quantity demanded of one good and dividing it by the percentage change in the price of the other good. The formula for cross-price elasticity of demand, change in quantity demanded of good A, part with change in price of good B. A negative cross-elasticity denotes two products that are complements, while positive cross-elasticity denotes two products are substitutes. If products A and B are complements, an increase in the price of B leads to a decrease in the quantity demanded for A, as A is used in conjunction with B. Equivalently, if the price of products B decrease, the demand curve for product A shifts to the right, reflecting an increase in A's demand, resulting in a negative value for the cross-elasticity of demand. If A and B are substitutes, an inclination in the price of B will increase the market demand for A, as customer will easily replacing B with A, like McDonald's and Domino's Pizza. Degree or response, substitute goods and XCD. We have two graphs, and expansion of XCD is tea and coffee. Point number 1 is weak substitutes like tea and coffee will have a low cross-elasticity of demand. If the price of tea increase, it will encourage some people to switch to coffee. But for most people, their preference for a particular drink is more important than a small difference in price. 2. For two alternative brands, for example Starbucks Coffee and Costa Coffee, these goods are closer substitute as the difference is much smaller. If the price of Costa Coffee increase, point number 3, the aim of advertising is to increase brand loyalty and make consumers less willing to switch to another brand, even if price rises. And for complementary goods and XCD, these are goods which are used together. Therefore, the cross-elasticity of demand is negative. If the price of one goes up, you will buy less of both goods. For complementary goods and XED, we also have two graphs. First point is if the price of tea increase, there will only be a very small fall in demand for milk. It will have a negative cross-elasticity of demand, but it will be a low figure. For second point is, however, for two goods like Android phones and Android apps, there is a stronger relationship. If the price of Android phones increase, this will reduce the demand for Android phones and therefore there will be less demand for Android apps. Example of goods or service. Example 1, a positive cross-elasticity of demand means that the demand for good A will increase as the price of good B goes up. This means that goods A and B are good substitutes, so that if B gets more expensive, people are happy to switch to A. An example will be the price of milk. If whole milk goes up in price, people may switch to 2% milk. Likewise, if 2% milk rises in price instead, whole milk becomes more in demand. Example 2, a negative cross-elasticity of demand indicates that the demand for good A will decrease as the price B goes up. This suggests that A and B are complementary goods, such as a printer and printer toner. If the price of the printer goes up, demand for it will drop. As a result of fewer printers being sold, less toner will also be sold.
I will explain about the income elasticity of demand. So what is the definition of the income elasticity of demand? The definition is to measure the sensitiveness of changes in the quantity demand due to changes in income. So how to calculate the income elasticity of demand? So the formula of the income elasticity of demand is percentage change in quantity demand divided the percentage changes in consumers' real income. As you can see in the graph for elastic income, you can see that when the consumer's income is increased, the quantity demand also increase. So in the graph, the blue line is represent for the consumer's income. When the consumer's income is increased, the quantity demand also increase. So for the next one is inelastic income. So what is the inelastic income? Inelastic income is a situation where the quantity demand is also increased when the consumer's income increase, although the consumer's income increases faster than the quantity demand. So the example of goods for the inelastic income is normal goods. So the example for the normal goods is food. So based on the graph inelastic income, you can see that when the price is increased, the quantity demand also is increased. The next one is negative income elasticity of demand. So what is the negative income elasticity of demand? Negative income elasticity of demand is a situation where the quantity demand still decrease even the consumer's income increase. So for the examples of goods for the negative income elasticity of demand is inferior goods. So for the example of the inferior goods is second-hand car. So as you can see in the graph for the negative income elasticity of demand, you can see that the quantity demand is still decreased even the consumer's income increase. And lastly is zero income elasticity of demand. So zero income elasticity of demand is a situation where the quantity demand does not change when the consumer's income increase. So for the examples of goods for the zero income elasticity of demand is necessity goods. So the example of the necessity goods is vegetables. As you can see from the graph for the zero income elasticity, you can see that when the consumer's income increase, the quantity demand does not change.
Assalamualaikum and hi. I, Izzatul Aisha binti Suhainan, will present to you why we need to make decisions based on three types of demand. It is because it can apply the price elasticity of demand. The price elasticity of demand for a certain good or service has considerable implication for businesses. For example, if a tea shop were to increase the price of original tea by 50% and if demand fell by 5% as a result, management would then know that the price elasticity of demand for that particular goods was elastic. But if they also increased the price of their top-selling flavor green tea by the same amount, and if the prices remain the same, then they would have a relatively inelastic product. Thus, elasticities differ with respect to variety of product in question. Businesses must therefore make pricing decisions based on this elasticity assumption. Next, it could also impact on business management problems. Price elasticity of demand affects a business ability to increase the price of a product. Elastic goods are more sensitive to increase in price, while inelastic goods are less sensitive. Assuming that there are no costs in producing the product, businesses would simply increase the price of a product until demand falls. Things become more complicated, however, after introducing costs. Let's say that the cost of tea bag increases as a result of short market supply, as profits equal revenue minus costs. This would lower the tea shop's profit. If costs were close to the price of a box of original tea bag, profits would be almost zero. As a tea bag of box is elastic, the shop manager will be unable to increase the price without damaging demand. Some businesses therefore sell some goods that have little to no profit margin. Their main profits come from products in higher demand. In this case, the tea shop would increase the price of the more inelastic good, green tea, in order to compensate for the loss in profits. Lastly, I'm going to present to you question 3, the importance of the price elasticity of demand. To the small, medium enterprises is determination of price. What is determination of price? So, determination of price is the basis of its price determination, the ratio in which the demand for a product will fall with a rise in its price, and vice versa can be known with the knowledge of elasticity of demand. For example, if I am the owner of the small size medium enterprise of a car shop, if I increases the price per unit of the car, the demand of the car product will decrease. This is because the buyer or the consumer will switch or find another substitute to a lower price per unit of the car. Subsequently, if I set a lower price per unit of the car, the demand of the car will increases. That's all from us. Thank you.